33-story hotel and condo project.
I'd probably be
Okay,
like
like
that.
stop, tap.
This is a plan by the community for the community.
This one here, you're showing me.
No problem, Ken. Thanks for having me.
It's Kent Molgat for KelownaNow.
And we're joined by a couple of Vikings, members of the Úlfhéðnar. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a touring group of Norse warring reenactors.
Exactly.
Is that something close?
Yeah.
So what is this all about? I'll start with you, Micah. What's your Viking name?
Úlfhéðnar, and as my character, I hail from Norway, and a lot of my kit, we call it kit, so our garb, our weapons, everything, the kit sort of follows where you're from. So if you've got a Danish background or a Norse background, you can actually tailor your weaponry and your garb.
And John,
My character's name is Krieger Hamundsen. He's son of a merchant family then, but from Denmark. So because of the merchants, I get a little bit more variety in what I can wear.
all right.
Sometimes some brighter colors too.
Okay, so this, what I'm seeing here, helmets, hatchets, a lot of interesting things here. You actually make these?
Yeah, so myself, I've been blacksmithing for about 5 years now. I didn't make this one in particular. I dressed it up.
This one you made?
This one I forged out of a steel ball peen hammer. So that one used to be a ball peen hammer, and then I forged that out into a fighting axe, so a hand axe, and then dressed it up and shaped the handle myself and put it all together. The same with our fighting saxes, which are the fighting knives and utility knives that we use, which are these.
Right, okay.
So these are, again, blunted weapons that we use. These are what we fight with, so we've got a dime-shaped tip on them so that we can't pierce anything, and then a blunt edge. But again, that's something that I forged and made myself. And the handle bits are from recycled transformers, electrical transformers, and the black walnut tree out of my backyard. So.
How do you like that? And these helmets, are these realistic helmets?
Yeah, so these are replica helmets.
Oh my God, that is so heavy. I thought I would just pick that up easily, but this is quite a piece of something.
Yeah, so this is from the Valsgard dig, which is pre-Viking technically, but there's only one helmet officially found in Norway, the Gjørmundbu helmet, that they had, so we sort of have to have a bit of leniency on our history, so
right.
We have a bit of variance, so we're not all running around with the same helmets.
Okay, so what do you guys do? I love the outfits, and we're learning a little bit about history here, but what do you do?
Do you want to take that one, Jay?
For what we do is we generally just want to go around showcasing what we've researched, what we've found out about the Viking Age, through combat, through living, how they lived, what they did, not just going around burning down everything they could and take what they can. They did a lot more than just that. So we want to just have fun while showcasing what they really did.
Yeah. So what we do is we'll go to schools and we'll teach the kids who are doing like history courses. We'll sort of cap those courses off with a combat demonstration, how the Vikings fought, how they performed in a shield wall when they were doing their war tactics and stuff like that. The other thing is we've been at the Kimberley Medieval Festival put on by the Kimberley City Bakery for the last 2 years,
Yep.
And then we'll be there this year again in July, and we do a full camp out. So we'll set up a whole village and we'll put on performances all day.
And you had no trouble getting something like this? I don't know if we can see it there, but you no trouble getting this weapon through security at the school?
Security at the school isn't really our biggest issue. It's the police downtown that we have to, manage and check out their expectations.
When you're walking around like this, right?
Yeah.
It could maybe raise alarm at some point.
Yeah, walking around with steel weapons and stuff like that. So
You never been arrested for possession of a deadly weapon at any point?
No.
Not yet.
I've talked to the police just like outside downtown. They're just generally interested in what we're doing and why we're wearing what we're wearing. But when they know what we're doing, especially if we're going to do a demonstration, which we haven't done actually downtown or anything, we would forewarn them and give them a call and see what their feelings are on it.
This is a medieval cell phone?
Basically, yeah. Yeah, so you just hold it to your ear like that, and this is a signal horn, so the bottom of it there is bored out. It's got a hole drilled through it, and that's all carved
So you would
out.
make like a trumpeting noise into that?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that way you could, your buddies might recognize the sound
Exactly, yeah.
and know that maybe it's time to get to battle
Yeah, or drinking.
or drinking.
Yeah. So I won't do that in here unless you really want me to.
You didn't bring any mead or anything, but what was it that a Viking would be drinking?
So they had like goblets and mugs and things like that. They did also, there's evidence of horns and stuff like that as actual
As drinking vessels? But
yeah.
what would they put in the vessel? Some kind of, do you know what they would drink?
Well, they did have a lot of mead. There was a lot of honey up there, so it made that part easy.
Mead?
They did have a few types of ales. I've heard stories of some weaker beers, but I'm sure
Right.
they tried to make them stronger.
Wine? Did they mean wine?
Depending on where they got up to, if they were more towards the Frankish side, which is now France, they might have had access to a few.
And
Right.
if you look at some of the more recent finds that we're finding in eastern Canada as well, you've got Icelandic Vikings and Norwegian Vikings traveling to parts of like Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and things like that, and they called it Vinland, which is
Right.
Vineland. So
Yes.
you can get grapes and things like that. But for the most part, the mead is like the honey wine, so it's fermented honey
Right.
wine.
So if someone is interested in all this Viking stuff, what would they do to maybe see a performance or get involved?
Yeah, so we do, normally we do 3 shows a year at the Fintry festivals or the Fintry fairs hosted by the Fintry Estate.
Yep.
So we've got one coming up on Mother's Day, which I believe is May 13th, the Sunday.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And so we'll be out there from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Performing for most of the day. We've got 2 separate shows from like 11 o'clock for an hour and 15 minutes, and then at 2 o'clock, I believe we've got another hour and a half long show where we'll be doing archery, combat demonstrations. We'll have our full shield wall demonstration where we show the tactics.
Okay.
And we actually, our shield wall commander, Eric, he speaks in Old Norse for all his commands that he does. So everyone in the group has practiced understanding the Old Norse commands to know what we're supposed to be doing in those performances.
So how do you do combat with all this stuff? I can see you've blunted the edges and whatnot,
Yeah.
but how do you make sure that you don't injure each other?
Yeah, do you want to touch on that?
Ridiculous amounts of practice.
Yeah.
Every week we practice at least 4 hours a week, just making sure we're not going to hurt each other. So we start with making sure we're hitting only in the designated target areas, because we definitely don't want to hurt anybody.
Right.
And then from target areas, we make sure our impacts are nice and light. If anyone starts hitting a little too hard, we hit them to dial it back and work out from there.
Right.
And then we start with practicing fights where we're only striking each other's weapons or shields. And then after a bit of that, well, we signal each other, usually by striking your shield or your helmet, depending on what weapon you're using, and then we'll go into actually trying to kill each other. Without hurting each other.
You must have had a nick or a bruise here and there.
It happens. We have something called the blood book, which is something where we actually like track any injuries that have been incurred at one of our practices or shows. What that does is it gives us a record of the injuries that have happened, why they happened, who was involved, and how do we better ourselves to not have those injuries occur again.
Yeah.
So we try and maintain a strict code of safety and ethics when we're fighting.
Right.
There's a big portion of it is honor as well, and we have rules around if you do hurt somebody, how you approach that.
Right.
In that whole scenario of somebody, if I hurt Krieger in a fight, the show, depending on how injured he is, the show would stop, or we would discuss it quietly in the middle of the fight to see if he's able to continue fighting. And if it's serious enough, then we have protocols in place to
Wow.
sort that out.
I mean, apart from that stuff, which sounds like maybe a potential negative, you guys enjoy it? It's fun?
Oh yeah, it's great. For me, the martial arts aspect of like the fighting that we do, and sort of the safety restrictions that we have and protocols that we have in place, that's actually the funnest portion for me. Dressing up and portraying a Viking is sort of the big reason why we do it.
Right.
But the combat for me is a point of pride. It's something that we're not too proud to not win, but it's a point of pride showing how good we are at it,
Right.
and what our prowess is. The fact that we can still go to work on Monday and not have black eyes and bruises and broken arms and stuff.
And it
like
gives
that.
you an excuse to grow an amazing beard.
Yeah, that just sort of happens. But
It sure fits. It fits right in, right?
Right,
And if
yeah.
somebody really questions, you can say, well, I do the Viking stuff.
It's
so.
true, and I work downtown at Newman's Post, the
Right.
Viking Feast Hall.
So it fits in
this
well
works
there, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, for me, this was just being a Viking reenactor was an excuse for my wife to let me grow it out, which
Yeah.
was great.
Well, yeah. Well, this is just fascinating, guys. Thanks so much for bringing a little Viking flavor into the show.
Yeah.
So you are the Úlfhéðnar,
Correct.
the Okanagan Vikings.
Yes, indeed.
Look for them at a festival, a school, or a fintry near you.
Just check us out on Facebook, and we'll keep you posted on what we're doing.
Terrific. And you're watching Kelowna Now.